It doesn't matter what aspect of cycling you want to improve, whether it's the long climbs, your sprint. I set my best ever 10-second sprint power this year with joint cycling, despite training less than I did before. Check it out down below through my special link. But we had a short climb today and it all kicked off stage 7 of La Vuelta. This could be a boring breakaway stage. This could be just a big group sprint stage. It was really, really exciting. We have the 7K 5% climb, also called the Alto del 14%. And we had a breakaway with Isaza, poor guy on his own 8 minutes ahead, controlled by Alpecin de Koenig and Visma Spike for Wout van Aert. Ben O'Connor and Decathlon, they didn't have to do anything. Easy day in the wheels. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, what would they try today after yesterday's maybe problematic finish to the stage? We start having a sprint into the base of the climb, everyone jockeying for position. You don't want to start the climb last wheel, and then they get to the climb, everyone's chilling. It's not a particularly narrow entry, and Affini comes back to the front. So Visma just pacing with Affini, and yeah, it's going to drop a few riders, but it won't drop Caden Grove, so Aliotti takes over. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe wanting to try something, and maybe Decathlon were a little bit too relaxed because Victor Lefebvre, he has to bring up Ben O'Connor on the left-hand side. Does a really good job of it too, because the Red Bull train is clearly trying something, and Decathlon maybe thought, oh, Visma is just going to pace for a sprint, no need to be worried. It turns out very differently. There's bonus seconds, 6:42 at the top of this climb. The peloton splintering under Aliotti's pace. He flicks Danny Felipe Martinez. Uterbrooks has dropped. He'd lose 8 minutes. But it goes wrong here for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Martinez second in the Giro. He drops Lipovic. Lipovic is cooked. You could tell he was suffering. Vlasov's behind Roglic, and when Lipovic pulls off and makes Roglic close the gap to Martinez, this is on the steep 11% K. Martinez looks back and he's about to pull off and he's like, oh no, you were supposed to pull after me. And Roglic is left on the front. Vlasov was kind of cooked because he didn't go and immediately pace for Roglic, and Roglic probably felt obligated, I guess, to throw in a dig because the team had paced for him. Maybe Martinez and Aliotti had paced too hard. So Vlasov does return, goes back to the front, and that was pretty normal. I think, okay, you've got the bonus sprint coming up, the last K before, it's not that hard, it's 3%, but Roglic, he looks around and he throws in a second dig. It's a sneak attack. He's seated, doesn't get out of the saddle, but watch the peloton go from 3 wide to 1 wide because Roglic, he really snaps and accelerates, and Ricky Mas reacts. So that's the second dig from Roglic. So he wasn't just going for the bonies. He was trying to drop riders, but then it levels off again. Box on the radio to the left-hand side. Sivakov's trying to lull everybody into a false sense of security and then quickly gets in the drops and does a really well-timed, smart attack. But he's marked not for the last time by a Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rider. Leonard van Aertveld tries it, and Ricky Mas goes after him, then Kuss, and they're both GC riders. Roglic, he is the third dig. Now, this is closer to the bony sprint than he likes a long sprint, and it means he gets a little bit of a gap and Kuss can't sprint round him. And so he does take those 6 seconds back on O'Connor, which is a good start. But then they stop again. There's no control. It's a group of 15, but Wout van Aert is in the group. But with who left to control for him? And UAE try to sense or seize upon that with Sivakov again. Sepp Kuss, last year's defending champion, comes to the front to try to control things, but Soler on the right-hand side, it's a great finish for him, and it's a great moment for him to attack on this plateau before a descent, and then a 10k flat to the finish. He throws in a dig, and he does get a gap. Kuss was looking the other way. Van Aert doesn't respond himself. UAE very quickly assemble their guys to the front to try and block. Decathlon eventually do pace a little bit, but for Van Aert, this is looking like the same old story. Stage 2 of the Tour de France last year, Victor Lefebvre, late attack, W. Romain Bardet this year, stage 1 of the Tour de France, couldn't reel him back in. Marc Soler had clear daylight behind him. This is the fast descent where Peter Sagan went clear in 2011 with Vincenzo Nibali on Liquigas, and Van Aert reacts. He goes to try and bridge across to Soler himself, gets a gap, and notably, it's Pavel Sivakov chasing him. Sivakov does have to spend a bullet here. Maybe that will factor into how tired he is at the finish. He's defending his teammate up the road. Van Aert sees he's being controlled by UAE and pulls the plug on that move, which isn't really good news for him. He's got no one else in the group, and it's a group of unwilling people except for Sepp Kuss, who goes on the attack. Yates goes with him, and now this is very interesting for later in the race. Decathlon get in a group and they don't even realize they've somehow slipped away without Primoz Roglic. Massa's going across and Red Bull don't realize straight away that the red jersey's ahead. So the chaos in the end wasn't great for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Decathlon looked very, very strong with numbers. And again, the Soler problem is there. But Sepp Kuss, GC Kuss last year, Rouleur Kuss this year, get him in the Tour of Flanders squad. I say rides back Marc Soler over a period of 5 to 7 kilometers on the flat. Bring him back with 3.5 Ks to go, but it's still not a fait accompli that Wout van Aert can get to a sprint. David Gaudu throws an attack on the right-hand side, but Van Eetvelt and Vlasov respond to him. It looks like Vlasov is trying to control for a sprint. Sivakov throws in another dig, really well timed. He gets the draft of Gaudu, then he slips to the right and gets the draft of Van Eetvelt to get up to speed in the draft. Kuss can't follow him, and it's Vlasov who again follows and chases the entire time with Van Aert in the wheel. It really was almost the identical spot where Lefay attacked, but Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, wanting maybe a sprint with Roglic to get some more bonus seconds, chase with Vlasov, and with 500 meters to go, we could see Van Aert knows he can sprint across that gap. He's looking to see when Vácek will launch and making sure he doesn't get boxed in, and he knows if it's a side-by-side sprint between him and any of these guys that made this group, Kung, Vácek, etc., there's only going to be one winner, and Wout van Aert takes his second win of this year's Vuelta ahead of Vácek, then Mikel, Kung, Hermans, Pacher, Rota Tejada, Max Poole, George Bennett. Really exciting, interesting stage, actually, with lots of aggressive GC action. Here's what Van Aert had to say after the stage.
On the top, I found myself with Sepp alone in the front group, so it was really difficult to manage, but yeah, Sepp did such an amazing job. I don't know if people realize what it's like if you're below 60 kilo and you do that kind of pulls on the flat. Yeah, I was so I had goosebumps in the wheel, and I just want to finish it off. So this is a really big one. In our team, it's not only about winning, but about performing as a team and making challenging plans. And a part of that is that everybody dares to sacrifice himself for the others, and the defending champion of this race pulling for you, that's a huge example of our team philosophy. So because of that, I'm so proud.
In terms of GC, no changes in the top 10, just Aaronsman and Otterbrooks completely falling out of GC. But we got another interesting uphill finish tomorrow. Will O'Connor lose time? Will he hold strong? He looked pretty good today, and this Vuelta is shaping up to be maybe the best Grand Tour this season. I hope you enjoyed the recap, and I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, ciao.